Chairman, and I want to thank both Secretary Martin and Undersecretary Kowal for being with us today. In my home state of Georgia, both K through 12 schools and our university system did an excellent job of reopening schools in 2020 and have been trying to get COVID funds out the door as quickly as possible. And I want to give a great credit to our administration and all those who worked tirelessly to get our schools open under a difficult situation. There are remaining questions that need to be answered by the department, and I'm submitting several questions for the record from our institutions. And I would like both of you to commit to responding to these questions in a timely manner. Would you agree to do that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Deputy Secretary Martin, earlier this year, our committee heard testimony from parents of children with disabilities harmed by their states and school districts' refusal to provide adequate in-person instruction. One parent testified about her family's experiences in Oregon and said, "My middle daughter is Lizzie, age 9, in the 3rd grade, and Lizzie has Down syndrome. She is a hidden victim of pandemic policies and prolonged school closures. She has been denied services mandated by the IEP," unquote. Another parent testified about his experiences in Virginia and said, quote, "Our son is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. Before school closed due to the pandemic, he was a very happy boy who loved school, especially being around his friends, but things changed quickly after schools closed. During the fall, as we watched him deteriorate before our very eyes, and not be able to engage in virtual learning, we pleaded with school administrators to open schools for in-person learning for students with disabilities, which aligned with the guidelines by the Virginia Department of Health." Ms. Martin, how many investigations has the department launched of school districts that refuse to provide students with disabilities the education and services they are entitled to under federal law?
Thank you for bringing up the important topic of students with disabilities and making sure that their needs are being met as required by law. That's
how many investigations have you launched into this problem?
I don't know the answer to the number of investigations, but I'm happy to have staff follow up with you on the exact number of investigations.
All right. I would appreciate that and the extent of those investigations. On the other hand, the department initiated investigations of 9 states into alleged violations of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 due to those states' masking policies. Committee Republicans sent Secretary Cardona a letter on September 1st asking substantive questions about the legal interpretation underpinning those investigations. It's now 2.5 months later, and we still have not received a response. However, in an interview with Axios in October, Secretary Cardona said that it was unlikely any federal funds would be withheld from states or school districts over mask mandate. Was that an admission from the Secretary that these investigations were political? And would that be a yes or no?
So, thank you, sir, for the question. It's a little bit more complicated than a simple yes or no. What I will say is that a safe path to reopening and following all of the guidance that we know gives students access to in-person learning, as you pointed out, is so important. And so we're going to continue to support looking at safe paths to reopening and implementing the best protocols that are recommended by the CDC. When those are not being used, we will investigate.
Okay, so how would I interpret that?
I'm sorry, sir. Sometimes it's not as simple as yes or no, but I do understand.
Was that an admission from the Secretary that these investigations were political?
Well, sir, it's important that we have the safest path forward and that this is not about political. It's about safety for our schools, our students, and their communities.
Okay, Ms. Martin, I have just one more question. Thank you. Why hasn't the department been more aggressive over masking policies than it has been over school districts' refusal to serve students with disabilities?
It's about a safe path for all students, and there's not a difference between students with disabilities or safety around masking or the mitigations. We're following the science and the recommendations that when mitigations are put in place, students have access to their learning, schools can open and stay open, and that's what we want for all children in our country.
Yeah, but we've seen the results of this issue with students with disabilities. but anyway, I'm out of time. Thank you so much, and I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.